How do people from the Netherlands live abroad in New York? How do they live and work in the city that never sleeps? That's the question to which this NL Club NYC podcast will give you the answers. Here are your hosts, Eric and Mark.
And we're live from the NLClubNYC Club. Good evening. No Mark tonight. My name is Erik van der Zanden. And tonight we are, you might hear a little more background noise because usually we're upstairs, but tonight we are downstairs, actually, where it all happens at the NLClubNYC Club. And I have two guests tonight, Barbara and Evelien, both welcome. Let me just start you off with a short introduction. Evelien, can I start with you?
Yeah. So I'm Evelien. I've been living here in the United States for 38 years. I have been here most of my life and still feel very Dutch. Married with an American man, raised my 4 children here. And now I have a little more time and I'm happy to socialize a little more with Americans.
Yes, and so
Dutch people.
The Dutch people in New York, and so
Yeah.
you became one of the ambassadors of the NL Club, and that's actually what we're talking about today, the ambassadors of the NL Club, which is great. Barbara, welcome.
Thank you, Eric. I'm happy to be here. My second time at the NLClubNYC Club. My name is Barbara Konings. I live in New York for now 19 years. I am in real estate for 13 years. Before that, I was just like the city. I never slept. Just to get into it a little bit. And I like to be active with the Dutchies in real estate, in social events, in socializing. I mean, we come across each other a lot of times, certain events. And at one point you come here, you don't know anyone, and you like to, meet fellow countrymen. So you come here. After a couple of years, you get a little bored with that.
Yeah.
You're going to go your own way, like Evelien. And then at some point, you want to come back again and, reunite and enjoy a Heineken.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe some pool or,
And some bitterballen. I think bitterballen are supposed to come later. So definitely. How long have you been in the US, Barbara?
In the US, 19 years.
19 years. So 19 and 36.
38
almost.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm a little embarrassed saying I'm been almost 2 years here now, but we're counting.
Just wait for it.
I mean, so you said you're married to an American.
Yep. I met when I was still in medical school in Holland. So I finished medical school and was already pregnant with my first child when my husband, of course, came to Holland. I have been here after medical school, and then I got a degree in public health from Columbia University. So I worked always as a public health physician, and my last 25 years as a sleep disorders physician, mostly in narcolepsy.
Wow.
So
That's exactly what I need.
we all have sleep problems, most of us.
Or is it just because you don't take the time to sleep, or?
Also,
You live in the city that never sleeps. So how can you sleep?
I mean, that must be a great business for you to be in this city.
I was in nonprofit management. I'm just doing some projects now. And again, I worked mostly with people who have narcolepsy, which is a serious neurological sleep disorder. But I am very knowledgeable about all kinds of sleep disorders, and a lot of us have, problems falling asleep, staying asleep, just in the regular insomnia.
Problems waking up?
Yeah,
that's
more when you're young.
Yes, that's a result of the partying and too much of this.
Probably. You should remember that alcohol is a stimulant.
Yes, absolutely. So Barbara, what brought you here?
Love.
Love as well. All right.
Love.
So we're all here
Love.
for love.
Well, I
Wow.
think it's the expat community, or the expat
Yeah.
status that you get when you come here with someone from the Netherlands. You
Uh-huh.
move here, he goes to work, and you just go off and party.
Of course.
Well,
Not bad.
no, yeah, no, yeah. So we came here for work, and then we both stayed here. We never left.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen, but never say never.
Yeah.
I love this city. It's great. Not sure if I want to grow old here, because then I will never ever sleep. But yeah, it's amazing right now.
Yeah.
Real estate market is picking up again. I'm super busy, and I'm having a lot of fun and enjoying my time.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what you do in real estate.
I sell houses.
Uh-huh.
No, I do residential and commercial real estate. More focusing on the residential part.
Uh-huh.
We do residential in Manhattan, Brooklyn. I was just telling Evelyn that we were up in Riverdale, which is part of the Bronx.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you would never expect it, but it is beautiful up there. It's right
Yeah,
along the
it's
Hudson
beautiful.
River.
Uh-huh.
It's like a suburb,
Yeah,
almost.
yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful houses. So also through real estate, you get to learn the city pretty well.
Yeah.
I think Manhattan I know pretty well.
Mhm.
Brooklyn also. Queens I'm getting more familiar with, because a lot of people now want to leave the city and want to live in areas where it's less crowded,
Yeah.
where it's maybe cheaper,
Yeah,
more
exactly.
affordable.
Exactly. Because I mean, I feel like the average person gets a heart attack, or the average Dutch person gets a heart attack when I tell them about pricing
Yes.
in New York. I mean, isn't it the most expensive? Or I recently read something that the most expensive or second most expensive city in the world.
That's correct. Yeah,
I think Tokyo is probably up there.
I think no,
Yeah.
I think it was actually Singapore that New York was
Yeah.
competing with.
Oh yeah, I'm not
Could I
surprised.
be right? Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it's a lot of money if you compare it to the Netherlands, and that's what every Dutch person does
Yeah.
that comes to New
Yeah.
York, and which I want to help finding an apartment. So the first thing what I do is explain that there is a difference. We're not going to find an outdoor space, and if we do, your apartment is going to be super tiny.
Yeah.
Or if we have a huge apartment, there is no, it's
Yeah.
either this or that. It's just different.
Yeah.
And but that's the experience.
But then you get to live in the greatest city in the world. I mean,
That's the
it's worth the money in my mind.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I just I moved here in 1985 when I was and lived in Brooklyn Heights.
Yeah.
And then we had two boys, and then we went to the suburbs, and I lived there for 22 years. Had two more kids, two girls, and it's a very different lifestyle. The suburbs, New York suburbs. You're an hour away, but the life is so different. I couldn't wait to get back. So when my youngest graduated, we went back to the city, and now we're in Manhattan.
No.
And I just feel the energy in this city is just like nowhere else in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think everything seems sleepy compared to New York
compared
City.
to compared to the city. So tell us a little bit. You are one of the ambassadors for the NL Club now. I mean, they recently started doing this. We have different levels of membership, but being an ambassador is something a whole lot different. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do as an ambassador of the NL Club?
I haven't done all that much, but I started last year, and I was helping people renew their memberships. I just contacted people, and I think that raised quite a bit of money. I am in the fundraising committee, so we are looking to find different donors and sponsors. And I think there's a lot of places where we can look. I have a lot of experience in my job in nonprofit management. Americans are very good at because the government doesn't throw a lot of money into things, whereas like in Holland, here you really need to find money, and you can find it in many places. You can find. I hope that we can were able to find more Dutch donors,
Mhm.
Dutch companies. And for example, I'm very interested in some fashion companies. We have a lot of great organizations like furniture makers,
Okay.
and even thinking about something like pharmaceutical companies. I dealt a lot with that with a sleep disorder organization, of course. So I think that we can find money, and also being Dutch, I think is a good thing that I don't. I'm not shy to ask for money.
Yeah.
So I'll just go over to somebody who I know has a lot
Yeah.
of money, and they come here regularly.
Mhm.
Then I'm like, would you mind just raising the membership level?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff I think is important.
Yeah. But the question always is, what's in it for me? Of course, right?
For you or for
Or for, I mean,
for
like
an
as a,
average member.
like, or for a potential sponsor, right?
Yeah.
Bitterballen. I mean,
Bitterballen
that's
are being paid
the brown
to
gold.
for
or having lunch with us.
there you go.
Sounds good.
Or yeah, of course, that's people. People are all funny. Some people want to lunch. Some people want to be treated by have maybe lunch with the ambassador.
Hmm.
Some people want to go on somebody's boat for a sailing trip in the New York City harbor.
Yeah.
So whatever, I think we need to be able to offer different options for different big donors and sponsors. Not everybody wants the same. Some people just want a little goodie bag with some
Yep.
Dutch things,
Yep.
like
Simple as it can be.
stroopwafels or whatever is in the goodie bag.
Yeah.
So or cheese, of course. So yeah, I think that we can think about different
What
things.
would you do it for?
Parties.
Parties. You're
Galas, dinners,
Yes.
like you said, like
Yes.
little boat trips, make it a little exclusive. But again, like the Dutch, they are not that fancy, but they like a certain treatment.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think this venue already gives you, a good welcome,
That's true.
the beer. But yeah, I mean, I've been in other committees,
Mhm.
so that was more like from a business perspective that we were organizing events,
Yeah.
and this is more for people that are coming from the Netherlands, coming here, feel a little bit like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go?
Mhm.
Yeah, organize something that they like. So we also need to find out what that can be.
So how was
Yeah.
it for you when you first came to New York and you were?
I think I enjoyed shows of the Pumas, or like a cabaret show there was,
Yeah.
and they did quite some stuff. Koninginnedag
At
back
the NL
then.
Club already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
back then Koninginnedag, which is now Koningsdag or something. So they were pretty active, and I think people really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were dead how
Sinterklaas
many-
for my kids. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
who
Oh,
have
yeah.
an American father, and so that
Mhm.
was really a nice thing because they were raised here, and I wanted to bring Dutch culture,
Yep.
and so Sinterklaas is a big thing.
He was in our December podcast.
Was he
actually.
here? Was Sinterklaas here?
They actually did a Sinterklaas event that was over here, but I also did a video podcast with Sinterklaas, with the one and only. Yeah, you can definitely
Yeah.
look it up and show your kid, or save it for next year when it's that time of year again, or so.
Well, my kids are grown,
Oh,
and
yeah,
now
of
I'm an
course.
oma.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
so,
your
I mean,
grandkids. I'm sorry about that. Yes,
Yeah.
but so your grandkids. So your first kid.
My first son,
Son?
yeah, has twin girls, 6
Oh.
7-month-old twin girls.
But he grew up here in New York, right?
He grew up here in New York. He lives in Africa for the last 16 years.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so the babies just went to Africa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that is like a whole
Far
different,
away.
all right,
Very
okay,
different world,
okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
But my kids feel very Dutch, and I think that's
Mhm.
part of it was bringing We had a group of Dutch friends in Westchester where we lived,
Yeah.
and we always had a big Sinterklaas to do. We went to Oma and Opa, my parents, and they got a lot of Dutch goodies, and they just love all the Dutch candy and stroopwafels most of all. When I go to Holland now, I always have to bring back Dutch food. So I think part of it is like bringing Dutch culture, and their
Yeah.
friends know about
yeah.
it. Their American friends. So
Yeah.
that's all fun
Yeah.
for them too.
So, I mean, speaking of friends and fun, I mean, as you can see in the background for the viewers,
Yeah.
it got pretty busy. It's interesting. We were just talking about the amount of Dutch people that are living here in New York. It's crazy. So, if people come to you, do you mostly work with Dutch people that come to New York, or is it just
No.
whatever?
In the beginning, a lot. Of
Mhm.
course, it was my niche.
Yeah,
Like that's where
of
you
course.
go to. So in the beginning, as a broker, everybody starts doing a
Yeah.
lot of rentals because you
Mhm.
don't land a sales pitch right away. A
course.
listing of like 7 million, you don't in your first year.
Yeah.
So, I did ABN AMRO, I did Ernst and Young, like all those Dutch
Yep.
offices. They have employees coming
Come
now
all the
to
time.
deal
Yep.
like whatever. So that was in the beginning, and now I guess that a lot of Dutch people that come, they prefer to work with a Dutch-speaking broker that kind of understand what they want. And I understand that they don't want to spend a lot of money because when you do come here, it's a little bit tricky. You have to spend a lot of money.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So that is my part there to kind of bridge that and explain why.
So,
And
Yeah.
so what's the biggest advice or the best advice that you could give them?
like I said, you spend a little bit of money, but you get to live in the best city in the world. You get to pick a great apartment. Um, best advice to give, like, just don't think about that money that you just spent because you're going to be here for
Just
quite some time.
accept it. Yeah.
Well, I think that's the only way. And also, this is an expensive city.
Yeah.
So you're not here for no reason. If you don't earn that money, you cannot be here.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
That's true. I
yeah.
mean, and you're very right. So I'm in recruitment, and I have the same thing with Dutch companies that are surprised how much they have to pay someone if they want somebody. People tell me like, this is great. I have a business developer in New York that makes more money than the CEO in the Netherlands does.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it comes
It's a
with a
culture
price.
difference, and that's what we have
Yep.
here. We have
Yeah.
a lot of culture
Mhm.
class.
Oh yeah.
clashes.
Yeah. A
And I
lot.
think in the beginning it drove me mad, and
Okay.
now I'm like,
Yeah, I think that's definitely for people who come here, and that's why I think the club is so nice too. To have, we could be like the two of us. We've been here so long, we can share with people what the cultural differences are, and they're huge.
Mhm.
It doesn't look like it on the surface,
Yeah.
but when you just going to a dinner party, for example, the rules are very different.
What's it like?
Americans are
different?
very friendly and
Uh-huh.
polite. I had to learn that. I mean, you come, you have to make sure that you have polite, friendly conversation. We are
Mhm.
very direct as
Yep.
Dutch people.
Yeah.
And even in my work where I only worked with Americans, I've always had that problem.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
she's so direct. And like, but they knew what they had with me.
I like that they say that they call it direct
Yeah.
because they
But
call
again,
it
that's a
with me.
friendly.
Yeah, with me they call it I am bullying.
Oh, really?
That I'm a bully.
Or
Oh.
abrasive is a word they've used too.
I heard
But I
rude
mean,
a lot, but yeah.
I one of my kids is direct. She's learned from me, but she has issues with it at work too. And so that's, you go to an American dinner party, you have very friendly conversation, you don't touch upon politics because God forbid they are with the different party. I mean, I happen to be a
That's-
big Democrat, but if you go to Republicans, and in the beginning I would say things like, oh my God, what it's such a Republican thing to do. And I know that's just not what you can do. Americans just, but then again, they don't know how to eat politely, and then they have all this polite conversation. They shove with the
Yep.
fork.
Yep.
So
Yep.
people are like, and they don't know how to eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And I always tell
But-
Dutch people, do not ask how much money someone makes, and do not ask how much. Ooh, there we go.
yummy.
Some bitterballen. That's what we like. Thank you. That is great. Don't ask how much people make. Don't ask how much your rent is, because that is a
and
very
don't ask
popular
how
topic.
old they are.
Oh, really?
That's another thing Dutch
Oh.
people do.
Oh.
And now I get annoyed when a Dutch person comes around like, how old are you? I'm like, this is something you ask, but Dutch people
I don't want to talk about this. Yeah,
No,
can
I
imagine.
tell them one rule is Americans don't tell you what their age is.
Mm.
And the other day, there was a Dutch woman, of course, who asked for my age. I'm like, well, I forgive you because you're Dutch, but
Yep.
um, yeah, don't ask about income or age.
It's an interesting one. So, last few questions because we're on 20 minutes already. So usually we try to. So, a few questions. You have been both have been here for a very very long time. What is the biggest change you've seen over the last 38 or 20 years?
In New York,
Yes.
in the city, I think people have become more liberal,
Okay.
for sure, more accepting of all kinds of different people.
Uh-huh.
And that's a very nice change.
Mhm.
The coffee has definitely gotten better.
I mean, that's
When
been
I
over the last
first
few
got
years.
here, the coffee was terrible, terrible.
Uh,
So now you can every couple of blocks you can get a good coffee.
it's just fresh bean coffee. Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
what is the biggest change? Visually, the city.
Uh-huh.
Not only the city, not only Manhattan, not only Brooklyn, Queens. I go away for like 3 weeks. I come back. There's a huge building erected left,
Yep.
right, back, center. Everything is being built up or torn down, and something new is there within the next 4 or 5 weeks. This city is growing, growing,
Yeah.
and growing, and we're getting a shift of all kinds of people in.
Uh-huh.
Not just I don't think the true New Yorkers are here anymore. You know?
Yeah.
Well, I consider myself a
A
true New Yorker.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
but maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's the
That's
answer.
what I'm saying. Like I think it's going to change into metropolitan
Yep.
citizens.
Yep. And an
Or-
Yeah.
actual
But I think it always
multicultural.
was very. I
How do people from the Netherlands live abroad in New York? How do they live and work in the city that never sleeps? That's the question to which this NL Club NYC podcast will give you the answers. Here are your hosts, Eric and Mark.